Well, hey, and welcome to the Becoming Better podcast. My name's Nate, and I'm so glad you're here. Well, on today's episode, Jason, Josh, and I sit down and we discuss Easter services. We dive into our belief-o-meter and just some of the cool things we got to witness this last weekend. If you didn't get a chance to join us for Easter, we'd love for you to listen over the message as Jason spoke. And it would kind of help this conversation make a little more sense to you. Well, without further ado, we hope you enjoy this conversation. How's it going, guys?
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. We were off yesterday.
We were.
Glorious Easter Monday.
Yeah.
Easter Monday.
So
we had a lot of packages when I walked in this morning. It was a lot. It felt like everybody else was.
The school systems were a little different, though, because like my kid was out of school. The public school was in.
They were out Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was little.
A couple years ago, there was an Easter Monday. My kids were in school, and it was. It was nice. Not that I don't want to spend time with my kids, but it was nice.
to not have them at home.
It's a long weekend, man.
Yeah.
It's a long weekend.
So that was nice. But then last year, they were out of school on Easter Monday.
Yeah.
And this year, we misread the calendar, and I thought that was the same thing. And I was lamenting that. And then it was like the gift given to me when they were like, no, they got to go to school. I was like, yeah, send them to school.
Yep.
Get out of here. So they ended up got to go late because they had a dentist appointment. I don't know, it was all this stuff, One of them was home pretty early. I was like, oh, man.
You didn't get the break you really hoping for?
No, I did. It was great. So I took a nap. So it was what I did on my Easter Monday.
huge win. Yeah.
I was sitting there. I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to nap. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to nap.
Well, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was a great weekend.
Yeah, it was. So, well, let's jump in. This last weekend was Easter weekend. We had a lot of people on this campus, which was really cool.
So I do want to say, for those of you who are a part of the Prescott campus, kudos to you for listening about me saying maybe not come to the 9:30.
Yeah.
You guys did amazing.
Yep.
The 9:30 actually ended up being, I think, our lowest attended service
It was for sure.
out of
Yeah.
all five that
Absolutely.
we did.
By
at
about
Prescott.
almost 100. So the 5 o'clock on Saturday was like 380. The 9:30 was like 290. So again, still a large amount of people.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever want to discount that.
Yeah.
I was telling, I was trying to tell, I told our team, the average church size is like 75.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 290, we're like,
Yeah.
oh no. But
It was-
usually, historically, the 9:30 is our largest service.
Yeah,
always.
It was 558 last year.
Yeah.
Tried to get into that room and it was
Just uncomfortable.
It was just bonkers.
Yeah, it just can be
It was just-
uncomfortable.
yeah. And so what we said was true. And you guys did the thing. 800 of you come on Saturday night, which was
Yeah.
amazing. And so there was plenty of room for people on Sunday. The 11 o'clock got a little bit tight, but it was great. So I just want to say shout out to all of you who did the thing that we asked and stepped out of that service and went and attended somewhere else. It allowed us to have more people on campus than we ever have.
Yeah. So, what else stuck out to you guys this last weekend?
Oh man, I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I took a nap yesterday. So I don't know. I forgot it all.
the obviously the win. We always love when we get to see people take that scary step out into the aisle and walk down and profess faith and get baptized. That's
Absolutely.
that's the fun part. So I think we had 35
Across both campuses. Yep.
yeah,
That's
who
awesome.
got baptized this weekend. So that's just so cool. So exciting. Excited for our team. We're going to get to follow up with those this week. There was one lady specifically that came right at the very end of, was it the 9:30 or was it the 11? It might have been the 9:30. I think it was
maybe.
the 9:30. And
It happened a couple of
Yeah.
times.
yeah, but it was her first time, and she came and
But she was 9:30.
yeah, and she came and right at the very end said, "Guys called me to do this," and so we got to baptize her. She It was actually in between services.
Yep.
'Cause she came at the very end. And so, I got to baptize her with, 25, 30 people that was standing around. And like, she just sat there and wept in the baptistry. I mean, it was like, and then after she got dressed, I was already up top, and she just came and gave me a big hug. It was like, I've been looking for a church, and like, this is the place. I can't wait to get connected. And so
Let's go.
it's just fun to see God move in that kind of, I don't say instantaneous. Who knows what seeds have been planted into her life to get her to this point?
100% they have, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
That's what we believe is.
Yeah. There's a lot to see. And we just get to see that come to fruition. And then, and just for our team to get to be able to follow up and become a church family for her. It's just super exciting.
Yeah, we're usually and it's just when you're talking with anybody, like when they're making that declaration of faith and placing trust in Jesus and believing and then walking out the path of repentance, confession, and baptism. Like there are sometimes that I've planted seeds and they've not done that. And then years later, right? The hope is they grow. And then it's these weekends we get to see, to your point, is somebody probably at some point that she was wanting to find a church would tell me that somebody put in her, a grandparent, a parent, the value of church. And it was, right? Like, oh yeah, I need this. Oh, I found it. Oh, and I not just found this, I found this relationship that I didn't even walk in knowing I needed that day, but I did know, but I just had been resistant. Whatever the story is. And so that's the cool part is the journey up to the point, whatever it's been like for most of the people who finally go, okay, boom.
I'm in.
I want to follow. I want to do this thing. It's always really cool to celebrate. Yeah, just the amount of people inviting people, their friends, their family, they're all those things. And so just being able to see, just God doing something. And I've been talking to a bunch of friends of mine all over the country. Highest weekend, highest attendance ever. Like it is the theme. Like we've been telling you this for since like last November, that for the first time in our history, the church is not losing anymore. Like we're actually winning. And so just that reminder of it's just not here in Prescott. It is everywhere. People are just seeing people show up and watching people, take these steps and say yes to Jesus. Yeah. So that's been cool. I've been chatting with a bunch of friends all weekend, just kind of getting to, share the wins, with them as well. It's been fun.
Yeah. So cool. And then we had a fun prop this weekend.
We had our belief-o-meter.
Yep. So
I got a cool picture of from our friend Mr. Mason, who came to services on Saturday night here in Prescott. And I have a picture that he created his own belief-o-meter and took it to church on Sunday in PV. And so he had his own version that he was going to be sharing with people. So that was pretty cool. That's
awesome. So let's jump in since we really don't have any questions. Let's talk a little bit more about some of these examples that you brought up for the belief-o-meter. What didn't make the page?
What didn't make the page? That's really good. Okay, so there was one that I had it was in the doc. That I had put on there as an example, and our sermon planning team said, "No, you can't. Don't put that one on there."
No, Josh said you can't.
Well, Josh did, and then David joined in.
David joined good.
Yeah, so there was
like, you just can't do that one.
You can't do that one. And the example that I was just reminded of the context. So I was trying to set up the belief-o-meter to say, listen, if it's a historical event and you weren't there, you don't know with 100% certainty or 100%. You don't know with 100% certainty either way that it did happen or it didn't happen, and you're basing it on testimony and evidence and logic of trying to figure out where do you land in between whether or not this happened or not. And one of the examples that I threw in there was 9/11 an inside job. And Josh was like, "No, you can't. You can't do that."
Yeah, this felt like.
So why did you not like that one?
I just felt like it was, again, the community that we have in Preston, like a lot of firefighters and that first responders, and our church has that. If there are so many of that group of people who lost their lives in that. Again, not that we're all from New York, but then there was a lot of us who kind of watched, and I saw it. Again, you can't be there. I don't know, man. And then I've heard people speak about the heaviness of going to that memorial site, even years later. I just was like, man, I don't know if laughter was the emotion it would have drawn up. And you were trying to get people to kind of laugh because it was still in the beginning of the sermon.
Yeah.
So it just was the one that felt like way out of bounds. I was like, I don't know if we can joke about this.
Yeah.
This feels, ugh. Although I was a little surprised about the amount of people who think we didn't go to the moon. That's so crazy,
right?
Like, certainly, I was like,
Okay.
most of these people saw it on a TV. I thought, I'm like, this is nuts.
But what did they
But,
see on
yeah.
the TV,
I
Josh?
feel like
Listen, you're in space and the flag's moving. I don't know. There's no wind.
How do we know? You been up there?
No. Well,
Have you been up
the
there?
vacuum of space.
Have you been there?
No.
That's
So
what I was.
this is the
No,
thing
yeah.
right here. You're all playing it out. Now, here's the
We
funny
just
thing.
literally launched a rocket. There are people who just sent pictures from Earth right now. I just saw them today. Like,
Yeah.
it just
did
happened. You're right. It's fake. This is all fake. It's flat. Yeah, I probably. Somebody
So-
did ask that. That was another one.
Yeah,
he
so
talked about
whether or not it's a flat Earth. Yes. We have flat earthers in our church, just so you know.
Oh, I know.
They do exist.
I just was shocked that many people thought that
Yeah.
there was.
Okay,
No moon
I'm
landing.
standing out after one of the services, and one of our security guys says, and I haven't fact checked this. I don't know if you can fact
Let me
check
try.
it, Nate. Said that in preparation for this Artemis 2 mission, that one of the astronauts said this will be the first time we've been to the moon. That he let this slip out just in the last couple of weeks as we are sending this rocket around the rock of the moon. He just happened to let it slip that this is the first time that we've been to the moon. So whether
Who let it slip?
one of the astronauts on Artemis 2. Again, I haven't fact checked it, so I don't know if that's true or not. But
Oh my God.
it is a thing that people have a lot of questions about. And the other one though, the
commander, the guy that's over the whole, like he's the main guy on the team, said first time we send humans to the moon.
so this is the guy on the rocket who works for NASA who said this.
Why would we, I don't understand I just don't understand why we would lie. Why would
Yeah.
we lie about the space station?
Because we were in the Cold War
We're
with
in
the
the-
Russians.
yeah.
Well, why, what does that matter?
It means we're better than you.
Yep.
But it doesn't though. There's no like Transformers. I get it. It was like get up there and get those pieces out for Transform. I understand the dark side. That feels legit. It just feels like there's no reason to have lied about this. Again, I don't remember because I wasn't. The Challenger was in the 80s. I mean, like a whole thing blew up and people died.
Yeah, but that was
But
long
they were
after
going.
the moon.
But again, I'm just saying they were going still to go to the moon. Like
no.
just feel-
Those were all just low
Low
Earth
orbit.
or low Earth.
No, the
orbits.
Challenger, weren't they going to the moon? They were like taking off and going, right?
No. They
It
were
was
all
the
just connected to the
International
space station.
Space station.
It's
Yeah.
all low Earth orbit. This is the first time. The Artemis is the first time since I think the Apollo missions
Yep.
in the early 70s that we've actually gone into outer space.
Yeah.
Well, that's-
Yep.
Yeah. All of the Challenger shuttle missions were all just called low Earth
So
orbit.
the Challenger missions were for the Hubble Space Telescope.
Yeah.
So they were taking the parts up to build that telescope that looks at deep space.
We haven't been outside of
250 miles from Earth.
it till this mission.
Yeah.
In a long time.
as people.
As anything, we've
I
sent
feel like
some
we're,
satellites. up
we're
there.
rocking Josh's world right now.
Yeah. So anyway, this conversation though is why it made it onto the Belief-O-Meter because people have these conversations and we weren't there, so we don't know.
But there's a lot of people who were in that room who were there. That's what blew me away. Like this is in our lifetime. Well, not my
but they
lifetime.
saw something on TV, but I've also
Why would we fake that? I just don't understand the value. I don't even understand the value. That's what doesn't make any sense to me.
national morale. The guy who said it got killed. Now we got to do it in his honor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? There's 1,000 different reasons. Did Building 7 didn't get hit by a plane in World Trade Center, and it fell down like a demolition. So you got to go look at World Trade Center number 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of crazy out there.
I just can't get down with all this. For me, it just is.
Should we talk about the OJ?
I don't even want to talk about the words that I want to use because people get so offended. But like, I just can't. Yeah, OJ didn't do it. And it's not just me who says that. A court of law said that.
Yep,
So
they
a
did say
court
it.
of law, he was tried as a criminal for criminal court. And
The
it
court
said
of law does
not
not provide your innocence. It just does not determine your guilt.
not guilty. Not guilty, brother. That's all I'm saying. Not
That was the overwhelming one, though. In every service, that was the one everybody
Yeah.
said, oh, for
Guilty.
sure he did.
not guilty. Well, the court told me. Then we just don't believe the courts anymore. This is the world we're coming in.
Nope.
I don't have time to. I just don't want to question all that. Like it just feels like it's just a dangerous.
Okay, can I give you
hole to roll
Can I give
down.
you the one that somebody came up to me at in the lobby and said, "How is it that you didn't ask about did Epstein kill himself?" So that was the one. They wanted me to go Epstein
Yep.
on Sunday, and I'm like, "Oh no, like we're not. That would just be a tire fire if we just started talking about Epstein in church." So
I just don't have time to waste chasing all this down. Like they're legitimate. That's why I'm not even on social media.
Yep.
Anymore. I just. It's not that I don't care what's going on out there, but it just is not. It's just not helpful for the life I'm trying to live in Prescott, Arizona, to tell people about Jesus and raise my family. I don't have time to waste hours to go, you know what I'm going to look up? Was this a conspiracy? Did it really happen? Again, when I see people who, like, again, we had a guy who was in our community. When I
Yep.
saw that vehicle, it just made me go, man, Matt, that's just an unhappy way to live.
Yeah.
That you literally question every single thing. Right? Because again, what then happens is it's easy to question what we talk about all of the time.
So again,
That's the
let's bring
danger.
it back. So what was the point of bringing those up? It's to point out the reality that none of us can be certain related to any historical event.
Mhm.
We do not have the capacity unless we were there to see it firsthand. We can listen to other people's experiences, lean into their testimony, weigh the evidence, look at the logic. But at the end of the day, we can't be 100% certain either way if we weren't there. And, you know, that comes to the resurrection too. And there was a line I actually shared with my wife, you know, it was Sunday night. And I'm thinking, oh, if I had a chance, there would be a line I would have loved to have added into my message that it didn't come to me until Sunday. And that was, you know, I get to the end and I'm talking about, you know, where do we fall on the belief-o-meter, you know, having that kind of conversation at the end. And I reiterated, you know, we don't get the chance to be at 100% one way or either way. And then if I had a chance, I would have just re-emphasized, which is exactly how you live your life with every other historical event. When I used the verse, I would have put it here. At the end, when I used that verse, 2 Corinthians 5:7, where it says, we live by faith and not by sight. That's when I would have said, just like we do when we think about any other historical event that has ever occurred, we have to live by faith and not by sight. Whether it's talking about OJ, whether it's talking about what happened in World War II, whether it's what's talking about going to the moon, every one of those, we live by faith. We are trusting in to the best of our understanding. It's not blind faith. There's evidence, there's pictures, there's testimonies, there's firsthand accounts. We look at the preponderance of evidence and we come to a conclusion of yes, it happened or no, it didn't. It's faith, but it's not blind faith. And we have that in every area of our life all the time. And so for us who follow Jesus to say that we live by faith, that's not some kind of crazy idea. It's not like we're just doing what every other human does with every other historical event in all of history. Everything that we do is we are living by faith until we get to see it with our own eyes. So that's the whole point. And so hopefully that little thing at the beginning just got you into the mindset to say we don't have 100% certainty. And so it's okay. It's okay that we don't have 100% certainty. What is the preponderance of evidence? We're going to land on one side or another, either as a believer or as an unbeliever. And I hope the Gospels are for us something that pushes us to be able to come to believe.
You're not 100. I was thinking, you're not 100%.
Listen, I think that the way I say it is, if there is no room for doubt, there is no room for faith.
I don't say you can't doubt.
But that's what it is. Okay. So if there's no room for doubt, I'm sorry. If you have any room for doubt, then you're not at 100%. If there's any room for doubt, then you can't say I have 100% certainty. And what we're told in Hebrews says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Like I walk by faith and not by sight. And so if there's room for faith, there's room for doubt. One day, both of those will get removed. When Jesus comes back, faith goes away and doubt goes away. Do you have 100% certainty all the time? You've never questioned? Even if it's at 99, there's still that, you got a little bit of.
There's just a lot of evidence and a lot of people who were
way more than we would
murdered.
Yeah.
To like their lives drastically changed because of the resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah.
Even the fact that I always like to again point out, right, that Mary is the first one to tell the story of the resurrection is just ludicrous, right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So yeah, it's not that I don't have moments of doubt. I don't know, but I don't know if it's specifically tied to the resurrection.
What would it be tied to?
I believe that Jesus rose from the dead. Like I did.
Me too.
Yeah. Like, and again, not in like this, I'm a just special Christian, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's like a certainty it's like, yeah, this happened.
Well, I would also say this,
but I understand that people wrestle. So it's not even like that. It's a ridiculous judgment. Like I don't have that on people. It's not like I'm like, oh, I can't believe you don't believe this all the way.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand why people wrestle. I do that. This is one of the ones that I'm like, man, I feel like
let me say two things.
This is true.
Yeah. I think two things that I'd point out that our listeners probably don't know that I know. One of them is I am certain you have been given a gift of faith.
Yeah.
So biblically, if you go and look, there is what's called a gift of faith. And I think there are some people who just don't struggle. They don't have those doubts. Mm-hmm. They just know it in their core. Right. And that is a gift from the Spirit. And I didn't know that about you until you came on staff with us, and we've lived life together for the last 4 years.
Right.
And having done that, I've seen that gift play itself out in your life where you're able just to speak with a certainty and a calmness and a peace because you've been given this gift of faith, and you're able to then inject that faith into other people. You are able to share that and give that faith.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you can borrow some of mine. I've got faith to spare. Here, have some faith. And so I would say that's a gift that God has given you. And so it's not surprising to me that you would kind of shake your head that people would have this, because I think you have a gifting that.
Yeah. And but it is. It's not I understand that there's some people to get across that line is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to see people at 51.
Yeah.
It isn't even, I'm like, I really do. Because to your point, I really believe that that's the craziest part. I believe that that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't think they have to be. I just am like, oh, well, I think you're not. It is just this weird, like.
You have a gift of faith. Here'd be the other thing I would say. I love, one of the things, I think it's in Jude. I've got this Bible I've had for maybe a year and a half. So I don't have all of my notes in it. And so I can't find it right now. But I think it's Jude that talks about be merciful with those who doubt. Where's that at? Help me out here, Nate. There it is. Jude 20.
You got time. People are probably trying to find Jude.
Find Jude.
Like, they're like,
it's usually one page in the
they're
Bible.
like, Jude, what is he talking about?
Jude verse 22 says,
There ain't no chapter, folks.
there is no chapter. And it just says, be merciful to those who doubt. And I always put it into the context. Who's Jude? Who's Jude?
Jesus' brother.
He is Jesus' brother. We always talk about James, the brother of Jesus. Jude is also the brother of Jesus. And Jude writes in our scripture as a command to the people of God, hey, be merciful to those who doubt. And I think he's writing that for himself because he doubted. You know, he lived with Jesus and he didn't believe that he was the Son of God. And he rejected the whole premise, all the family of Jesus did. So I do think there is, until we get to see him face to face, there's always going to be room for doubt.
Yeah.
As long as there's room for faith, there's always room for doubt. And it's usually in that gap of where my certainty ends and sight begins. How big that gap is going to be different. For some people, it's going to be 49%, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be the gap. For others like you, it may be 99.9%. You're as close to certainty as you can get, but you'll be even more certain when you see him.
And I do
face
think
to
you made
face.
a great point to say that people, it should grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That the hope would be, if I'm talking to people who've been doing this for like 50 years,
Yeah.
like, you know, when I would talk to people who have older in the faith more, I'm like, just in the beginning, I was like, just tell me it's worth it doing this my
Yeah.
whole life. I've never seen it done. Just tell me it's worth it. Oh, it's worth it. Great. Sweet. I believe you. Okay. It's worth it. And again, that's 50 years of experience. I do wonder, I'd be curious to talk to people who are older in the faith. Like, do they feel like they're more certain now? But then again, I know what Satan does for people is as like death gets near. And again, I've sat in those beds and talked to people who I would have thought had like rock solid faith.
Yeah.
And as they near the doorway of death, they begin to go, oh man.
So you're saying the fear of death hasn't died?
It's a whole
That was
nother,
a low blow.
a whole nother question. This is a
That
whole
was
nother
low.
argument we had this morning. This don't even want to talk about it. But no, again, it is something
2 hours later.
right. There's again, most people who come in, who call you in when you're on the kind of the death, that is
Yeah.
what they're asking.
Yeah.
For sure.
They're wanting to kind of give
looking
you that
for some
certainty. They want
100%.
certainty. And it is
And you are right. The enemy is the one who comes in at the end and is just trying to steal their faith.
Yep.
To bring in
to your point, could you throw it all away at the end and
Yeah.
just kind of toss it at the
Yeah.
door, right? And so, again, I just sat there and was like, man, those are the questions as you're I'm just like, man, I wonder where some people are. I wonder, where they're at. And again, I wonder if some people wake up like some days like, man, I'm at like 35, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm in, but like I actually went the other way today.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, what they're wrestling with. And to your thing is like no one in the New Testament believed before they saw.
right.
Like none of them.
Yep.
And which is crazy to just like say that line out loud. Because when you're like running the filter through your head, you're like, oh no. And there's a few who didn't, right?
Yep.
That's what I've loved about Luke is Luke's like the second generation person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not the one who's seen Jesus. He just saw all the people who saw Jesus.
Yep.
And that was enough for that dude.
Yep.
Like he believed because of their testimony.
right. So he went and interviewed them all.
He's
and
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
he's the
Yep.
second look to go,
Yep.
oh, okay. That's
And then he's writing to Theophilus, who's the third generation,
Right.
right?
yeah.
So Theophilus didn't have a chance to go talk to Mary. And that just has gotten passed down through the generations, which is why I love the fact that Jesus says, hey, Thomas, you believe because you've seen. Anybody can do that. But
Mhm.
blessed are those who believe and have not seen.
No.
And that's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to end with this last question. I know a lot of people either, brought their one or brought their family, and maybe they've just been praying for, God to move in their lives. What's an encouragement we can give to those people, or even someone that, came and they felt like they needed to be baptized but didn't step out? Like, how could we encourage them the rest of this week and as we go
So you're
on?
talking like, hey, I brought my one, Nate,
Yep.
and they didn't respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because I know there's been as
for
well
sure.
some conversations outside of some lunch conversations. Like the few people that I've seen on my day off, there was like, hey, yeah, my one's like right there.
Right there.
He's
Yeah.
right there. So how could we encourage, our people as,
Yeah, I think it's I always think of Corinthians. Corinthians is, Paul's talking about he and Apollos, I watered, he planted, but God made it grow. It is just, it's easy to say in the moment.
yeah,
It's easy for me to say that verse detached from hours spent in with people,
yeah,
right? Like you praying and hoping and believing in faith. Like they're going to come this weekend. I know Jason's preaching this message and you see all those other people come forward
Yeah.
and for whatever reason they don't. I would just say, man, the trust that, again, there is for me is like, man, trust that God is patient, wanting all people to come to a knowledge of him. And then my job is to keep planting, keep watering, and keep having the conversations. And what I know is God is gracious and good. And I believe that seed will one day grow.
yeah,
Like I just believe it. It may not be in my view, which would be rough. I get it if you're having all these conversations.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to not discount that there's an enemy trying to snatch that away. And as frustrated as I am, imagine God. I think of the God side of like, yeah, Josh, you're telling me I keep doing all these things and they're not responding. They're
Yeah.
just hard-headed. Yeah, Josh, it's you.
Yeah.
So I would say that I just keep having this conversation. Believe that God will make it grow. But we have a part to play. It doesn't mean we give up. We keep setting up the encounter and keep
Yep.
making the thing, and believing and praying and trusting that God is gonna do what only God can do.
And I'd say yes and amen to all of that, and invite them back.
Mm.
Like this is the easy piece. Like we're going to be jumping back into Luke, and the next two texts that we're going to get to look at is just going to keep kind of drawing people in as we're going to get to talk about. I don't want spoiler alert, but we're gonna get to talk about the greatest thing that Jesus has to offer a paralyzed man is not the fact that he's gonna let him walk again, but is that he's gonna forgive his sins. Like that's the next amazing text that we're gonna look at in the book of Luke, and then we're gonna see him go and eat with a bunch of sinners, a bunch of tax collectors, and see Jesus step into this place that everybody else has rejected. And he's going to say, listen, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. He's going to keep pouring into people who need to understand the good news of the gospel of Jesus. And so that's obviously, we're walking through the book of Luke. We're going to keep having that conversation. So if you've got one of those people in your life, like we want to just keep leveraging our opportunity to speak that hope into their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
And then they did come forward. Okay, help get them connected to them. Like obviously they're already connected to you, right? And doesn't have to be super difficult, right? Open the Bible and just keep walking with them.
Yeah.
Right? There is so many resources, so many. We actually are going to start doing like a new believers thing. We're going to do a new believers class for
tell
people.
us about that.
Yeah, so starting on the 19th, we're going to do one here in Prescott and one in PV at 9:30 at both campuses, just for people who are new and said, hey, I'm in, have questions. Like we want it to be a space where, again, what we're trying to do is just start the new journey.
Yeah.
This is not you're not going to come and learn everything you need to know to be. This is just like, hey, here's a couple things to get you started, but this is a lifelong journey. So
Yeah.
myself and Tim, one of our elders, will be doing it here, and then Ken and a guy by the name of Brett will be doing it in Prescott Valley. Again, just as a space to go, hey, I'm new. You told me to I'm in 51%. How does that mustard seed grow?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's what we want to do. We want to give you some tools to just help it grow to begin kind of our mission statement is more and better.
Yep.
So we can't, right? We got to do them both, and we want to try to find a way to do it both. And a lot of people it's a little intimidating, I think, sometimes to go sit on somebody's couch because they do feel intimidated. Like, I don't know those answers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jason used that word. I don't know what that means. What does that word even mean? So that was some of the stuff, like how do we help just take away some of that and come into a space. But ultimately, the goal is not to stay in this classroom, right?
Yeah.
It is to go and be a part of a group and be connected with people to do this forever. And so, if your one is just came to faith and they may be intimidated, come with them.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come too. Join us. Again, I want to just start the conversation with, people who are new to this. I just look back and go, man, I had people who just kind of grabbed me and just walked with me, and just kind of answered those questions when I was like, hey, I got a question. Paul talks a lot about circumcision. Why does he do that? Which feels like I don't even know what he's talking about. But I'm like 14. I have no clue. And somebody answered the question, right? They're like, oh, hey, this is what it is. And it's always been in the context of like, just ask. And so I want to create that space for people to go, hey, why is, and you may ask this question we didn't have the answers to. I don't know. Like, I don't claim to have them all, but at least that they have a spot. And how do I read the Bible? Oh, well, there's a couple good ways. How do I pray? Oh, here's a couple, So some of the stuff I think just be really helpful for new believers to kind of learn. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you can reach out. It's not on the website. We're just kind of keeping it right now confined. Confined is the wrong word. Keeping it so that all of the people in the last 4 or 5 months who've been baptized could join first. We want them to be the first group of people to kind of be a part of this and join into this. But if you know somebody who this would be great for, awesome. Call us. We can get you signed up. Yep. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so there's like 95 people in our church in the last 3 months that have been baptized,
So good.
which is amazing and so
good.
cool. And we prayed as a church for Advent that God would double the amount of people in 2026. And I know some people were probably praying that prayer, even I. So there you go. I was like, all right, God, I'm going to pray this prayer. Is it actually going to happen? I'm going to pray it though. I'm believing God, it's happening. Like, take all doubt out, But there you go. There was my moment. You asked where the doubt is. I'm like, all right, God, I know you can do this. This is not even like hard for you, but I just don't know if I'll see it.
Yeah.
Right. And the God's like, oh, Josh, watch out. Here we go again, So, and we're at 90 some people this 3 months. And so what could God do in the next 9 months?
Yeah.
I don't even
Yep.
begin to imagine.
We're going to need another wall.
We're running out of space in Prescott, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
That wall I do walk by it often and I go, that's a lot further out than when I first started
It
here.
is.
There was a cool story. There was a brother and sister who got baptized and they wrote their name up, but then they found their brother on the wall and took a picture by it.
Oh.
Like they got baptized like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So just like, those are the kind of things that are super cool.
We'll give it a little context for people who don't know what you're talking about. What wall?
Yeah, so in the back of our stage in Prescott, we have a wall that has all the signatures of anybody who's ever been baptized. And then in Prescott Valley, they sign like a temporary thing that one day will make it to a wall. But yeah, so you just walk by it and it has their name and a date generally. And so you can just see, the beginning. And it was cool. I was talking to somebody the other day. Sunday, and they were talking about they got baptized Easter 2020. And I was like, oh yeah, Jason and Ken told me about that one. They just like, nobody's here. And they're like, hey, we're just going to be here.
Yep.
If you want to come get baptized, just come on, know.
It was a Zoom church.
Yep. But again, and people showed up.
They did.
And you all were just here for hours, right? Just wait, because you didn't know, like, are the people coming?
Yep.
And so those are on the wall.
Yep.
Along with 22 and 23 and 24. And so it's just really cool to kind of see. So if you ever want to come backstage and just take a peek at it, it is one of the cooler things, in our church, because it just represents people who've been raised with Christ.
Yeah.
So.
It just simply says raised to life. That's on the wall. And then all these names. And it was cool as I got to stand there and, there's 5 or 6 people, in every service. And in a couple of them, I'd gather them up and we'd, just kind of share some thoughts. And here's a couple of instructions. And I said, hey, make sure before you leave, turn around and look at this wall, and you get to join the hundreds of others, brothers and sisters who've done this before you. And I saw a couple of them just turn, and they just started crying because it's like, oh, I'm a part of this.
Yeah.
And so that was just a
Not
really
alone.
cool moment.
Yeah, not alone. It is it's a cool thing. So it is definitely worth a look. If you ever wanted a tour, we'll bring you backstage. Nate can show you how to get back here.
Yeah. So Awesome. Well, hope you guys have a good week, and we'll see you guys Sunday.